Hello to the TUC meeting, 18th of March. Today we have our usual agenda, and we will get an update from the application runtime deployment working group.
Yes.
To share. Yes.
Okay.
We will check on the actions from last week, and then we can proceed with the update. So action items from last week. We have one, Chris, for you. This is about the easy CLA configuration for the new concourse org.
Yeah, I think we're still waiting on something on the legal side from Broadcom there. But I'll ping Derek again today and see if there's been some progress there. Because it'll be nice to.
Yeah, great, thanks. I will just put here until we clarify this. And the next one is about extending the inactive user output GitHub action. I already prepared the PR, generated the RFC number, and I have an update for the issue template for RFC tracking. Okay, this is all regarding action items from last week. Now we can proceed with the update. So Jochen, thank you for joining.
No problem. Happy to give us a short update. So first, regarding the members of the ARD working group, we have two new members. Dimitar Velinov from SAP has now the approver role. So he stepped up from reviewer, and the midterm goal is to make him co-lead for the working group so that he can support me in managing the working group's task. And Oliver Heinrich from SAP has become reviewer for the working group. And in addition, we have identified two or three inactive users, which we have removed from the group. Yeah, one promotion, one new reviewer. Apart from that, there are no changes. Then we are still working on the noble stem cell validation. So where is the chat? Here's the chat. So this is the issue where we track everything. The validation pipeline is almost green. So we can deploy CF on Noble, we can run the smoke tests, and we can run 99% of the CATS tests. The Bosch DNS problem has been resolved thanks to all who have contributed to that. Now the only thing that's blocking the final progress is that app container memory usage is not correctly reported. When we have that, then everything should be green and we have completed the stem cell validation and can then hopefully focus on the stack validation. Any questions on that?
I think we will need some input from Maria here because it's most probably related to the C group B2 support.
Possibly, yes, but I can't really judge because here I don't have much knowledge so deep down.
We've been looking at least into this and trying to debug at least what we understood how Diego is trying to get the container metrics. If you execute just that command on Noble and Jamie, you get similar response back from Ramsey, which also contains the memory metrics. So currently we are a little bit, couldn't understood from where the missing metrics, why they are missing, but maybe there is something in the integration which we couldn't get deeply enough to understand.
Yeah. Okay, but that's the only failing test from now. The rest looks good. Yeah. Then the next topic we were involved is the IPv6 request for comments. So I'm referring to the still open RFC, this one here. So I added a few short comments. So basically what we need is a new version, a new release of Bosch bootloader that supports IPv6, at least on maybe AWS and then on GCP. It's really difficult to judge how much effort that is because you would have to go through all the Terraform resources and check if they are IPv6 ready or not. There are tons of configuration parameters. And when we have that, then we could maybe add new acceptance tests, which first test IPv6 egress and then later also ingress traffic. So it's still all a bit vague because no one has a perfect clear picture what is to do to complete the IPv6 enablement. But for now, we need a new bubble release, then we can continue. Good. Yeah, apart from that, I've only found some two minor topics. So Stephan Merker has updated our database, the list of supported database versions. So we have removed Postgres 12 support. That means we have updated the document that lists the supported databases. So no code changes or something. And we have finally disabled API v2 by default. So that was one of the latest major releases. So v2 is now off by default and if necessary can be re-enabled with an ops file. Yeah, one more step in the long v2 sunset story. Yeah, that was all I found for the last months. Any questions from your side?
I saw, I've been looking into the file-based service binding. There is an open acceptance test.
Yes. This is, yeah, there's still some work in progress. So we have prepared a new acceptance test for the file-based service binding. So it deploys a test app, enables the feature, and then from within the app, it checks the file system structure if everything is, if the binding information is available in the file system. After the latest update of the RFC, we will have to update also the acceptance test because the feature flag names have changed again. And I think there is a Windows, yeah, this one, this is the Windows pull request. This is still I think it's reviewed and could be merged, and then we also have an acceptance test for Windows. Yeah. So as soon as everything is released, Kabi, Diego, and so on, we can activate the acceptance tests then for file-based service bindings.
Yeah, the copy release was just built this morning.
It's just built. That's the only thing that was missing, right?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
version
Okay, good.
1.205. So
Mhm.
yeah, in the next weeks we can continue with the cats.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I saw the copy release that.
But of course, you don't want to use this copy release before cats are ready, right?
Yes. Yeah. Any other questions? Not then. Thank you, Jochen, for the update.
Okay. Welcome.
If you want, you can stay, or yeah, depends on you. Now we can proceed then with our dashboard. There are 2 new PRs. So, I've been notified that the GitHub discontinues the support for task lists, and that's why I was looking how to update our template for the RFC tracking issue. And I experimented with different things. Maybe you noticed, maybe not. For example, in the issue about Noble, I converted the task list into sub-issues. So this was possible here because everything here is an issue in different projects in the GitHub Cloud Foundry organization. And it works. If you have issues, it works, but with PR, this approach doesn't work. That's why I was a little bit confused how to organize it now, having sub-issues and separate PRs. It's an option. I don't think that we can force all the projects to create issues and PRs. I think it's an overhead. You don't want them, most probably. And the other option is just to have plain markdown list, which looks like, let me open, for example, this one, I think. So it looks like this. So you can combine, so to say, PRs and issues.
Yeah, I like that better. Until they like support PRs in sub issue. Oh, it's sub issues, so it's probably never gonna be PRs. That's
I think so. Yeah, they imagine different workflow. I think.
I agree. I like this one better.
Yeah.
Can you
I
for a
think-
second please open the source code of this markdown, like how the markdown looks like?
Just
Thank you. Super helpful.
And this is what I'm suggesting here for the template. Just yeah.
So you suggesting here like this to do, and this seems like something like from org mode, like kind of, is this to do kind of just part of an example, or that's also part of the syntax?
No,
The
it's just
to-do
part of
keyword.
the to-do that people just start adding the PR and issue links from here down in this format.
Okay.
Most probably it's not so, I don't know, if it's not understandable, we can change.
Well, the reason I brought that up, like, because I wasn't aware like about GitHub specifics, but in a couple of different systems, to do and colon, like it's a specific syntax, part of the syntax.
We can also put the dots, just the dots here to not have confusion. Yeah. But the idea is to not use stats list anymore, just have a plain list of the items. Should I change this, or is it fine? I have only one approve yet. Okay, thanks. I can directly use this now to create the issues for the new RFCs. I was waiting. We accepted one last week, and most probably today a new one. Okay, and there's another one. We discussed this about extending the output of the inactive users automation we have, and now next time it is executed, we will have a log line in the output, which is like this containing information about the working group and GitHub users who are inactive. Okay, thanks. And now coming to the RFCs, we started the final comment period for the IPv6 one. There was one discussion. Ruben, you had one discussion, but it resolved.
Yeah, it got resolved.
Yeah. So then I think we can proceed. Oh, so many people got involved here. I like this. Okay. Amelia, do you want to check? Do you want to check something?
Sorry, I thought I already accepted it earlier. There you go.
Okay, thanks. And on the RFC status, we actually discussed the file-based service bindings and Noble, also a little bit APv2. I think the others are not yet.
Yeah. Maybe one small discussions that we had on the V2 end of life. We discussed in Kapi Open Office Hour recently what we do with the V2 info endpoint, because if we remove it as it is currently implemented when V2 is disabled, it's a little bit on the critical path because we break CF Java client and also other clients, and especially progress on CF Java client is very slow. And we discussed that we change here the policy a bit so that we keep the V2 info endpoint, but let the V2 info endpoint report that V2 is disabled. This works around the, it still allows to, let's say, discover CF via V2 info endpoint, what the clients are usually doing. And we can then remove it, let's say in 27 when everything is done and finished, and this endpoint doesn't eat a lot, so it's simple. It has no performance problems, but it allows a faster progress on the V2 deprecation roadmap.
Will it return any other information or just this is deprecated?
It returns UAA URL and SSH URL, and it returns the version of the V2 API, which we would then set to, there is no version. And there's a support info and the string we will use to say that it's deprecated. But nothing else, no content of the Cloud Controller database.
And this has been decided.
The PR is not yet merged. We just discussed about it and everybody agreed. So we will then open a PR and copy and get the final decision then in the implementation.
Can you elaborate just in a few words, like what problems it solves, like say like with Java client, like having like this dummy API point?
Whenever you use the CF Java client, the first thing what this library does is to call the V2 info endpoint, no matter, even if you just intend to use the V3 client API of the CF Java client, just for discovery, how to log in. And there's a PR open to fix that, but it doesn't get merged, and it takes at least, I don't know how long, a quarter, half a year, forever.
Oh.
But even then, if it is fixed, you need a release of the CF Java client, and this release of the CF Java client has to be consumed by users, and that's unrealistic until end of this year. At least that's what we.
I see. Thank you.
I also noticed what. Sorry, Ruben.
Yeah, I just want to understand. Like, it makes that API call, but then is the rest gonna be V3 or?
That depends on your use case. You can work only with V3 because the CF Java client supports a V2 client, a V3 client, and an operations API. And the V3 client, that one is really just V3. It is,
but it still uses the V2 endpoint to discover the login information.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see. So there's a bug in the V3 client implementation for the Java client, and that's what we're working
exactly.
on.
Yeah. That's,
are there any other clients other than Java like who has similar problem?
The Python client had a similar problem, but that got recently fixed. The Go client is purely V3, so I don't expect here anything.
Is there any situation like where kind of because like of this response of V2 info that would confuse like some of these clients, like that just like this deployment supports like full like V2 like spectrum of V2 operations?
Well, I don't know all the client libraries, but we would provide a response in the V2 info endpoint that indicates that V2 is disabled. That's the idea. And additionally, the info endpoints are not rate limited in the CF API, and that makes it difficult to get them under control. Even if we would try to rate limit them as part of the V2 rate limiting, we have a dedicated V2 rate limiting, but then there's you can call that anonymously. That means you can then only rate limit on IP address, and so you have the rate limits across multiple tenants, users. It doesn't work out. So you can not even trace down the usage. So just for reference, in our bigger foundations, we have rate limited V2 already pretty harsh. And we see that the most, the endpoint that is most called by a factor of 100 more than the other V2 calls is V2 info endpoint.
Is there any action item to do something like with Java client? By that I mean like kind of like motivate them, just talk to them, or like if they're not responsive, just like identify that as
Well,
kind of like problem
it's,
space, so I can just fork it.
Action item is a good term. I think there are no action items in the community. It's a topic on the working group meetings every time, and we all agree that something should happen, but doesn't look like this. What we do from our side is to come up with additional people who will work their way up towards an approver, and then they can work. But there's a lot of work in front of that. The CI infrastructure is still completely on the Broadcom side and has first to move into community. So this project needs resources, and that's really lacking at the moment. So even the open PRs, they are open for more than half a year, I would say, or roughly half a year. And there is, one comment
Okay.
per month. So it's really stalled at the moment. And
So Java client like is just now like mostly like on the Broadcom side, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll see
So-
like maybe I can just find someone who could just help like with that, because like what I don't like about this decision, like it feels like decision about like say like maintaining and making like this dummy like API v2 endpoint. It's basically like when like tail like wiggle like of the dog, like instead of just dog like wiggling the tail. That's how it feels.
Yeah, on the other hand, you need I mean, our main problem in the cloud controller is the v2 endpoints that access the database. And this stuff has to go away. And here we have a roadmap, and I'm feeling that this roadmap is endangered if we now try to, spend our resources on this uninteresting v2 info endpoint and put it on the critical path. So I'm happy. Get rid of that one would be nice, but I don't want to stop all other activities just because of that.
Just
Totally
be
reasonable.
pragmatic, right?
Okay, good discussion. I already got an understanding what does it mean to have v2 disabled, trying to debug something for the missing metrics. So we used the log cache API plugin, which didn't work in the bubble environment in CF deployment because there are no v2 APIs anymore. Yeah. Okay. And on the issue side, we don't have anything new, just the 3 old issues. So then any other business? There was some discussion in our Slack channel, in the TUC Slack channel about docs deploying CF repository triggered by Anita. Yeah, the repository is used by the docs working group, but they don't know why it is archived. Also, it is not archived, marked as archived in our community repository.
That's interesting.
Looks like maybe back 2020, in 2022, it was manually archived. So the ask is to unarchive the repository. I don't think there is something against this.
Do it.
Just make a PR, right? To do it.
How?
Is it even a PR? Because it's not. It's just.
I think it is not. It is not. It doesn't have the archived property, right?
Yes.
But maybe if we set archived false, maybe then this tool unarchives it. I don't know. I have never tried it. Then we have a PR.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Good
worth
start with
trying.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
At least we learned something.
Volunteers, so I can also take it. Okay. Any other topic you want to talk? Yeah.
I have one more topic. I started to work on this multiple GitHub orgs. Step number 1 would be to adapt the repository structure, and so it would still just support one organization, but all the files have already the right format. That's not too difficult, but since the org folder will be renamed to orgs, many URLs will change. And just as a heads up, I would then do a search and replace in the community repo and change orgs that also touches RFCs, etc. I guess nobody has something against it. So there will be a PR, which looks pretty heavy, but most of the stuff is just URL adoption. And we should somehow, let's say, merge it latest next week if there are no bigger objections, because otherwise it has to be rebased every other day, because every change in those files will make it invalid.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the real support for multiple orgs then needs probably to wait until after my vacation or somebody picks it up.
Okay. Another topic could be Cloud Foundry Day. We've been talking about whether someone from Broadcom side will be there from the build packs, so that we may have maybe a build pack area discussion during Cloud Foundry Day.
Yeah, mostly Ruben and I have been working on making sure that Rob gets budget to get there. I can't confirm yet though, but we are pushing all the people we're told to push.
Yeah. We also have 2 people who want to start in that area. They were wondering how they could start, maybe have a discussion with Rob, or I don't know when.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, I will start then just a discussion between them and Rob, and they can organize how things can be. Okay.
It maybe makes sense, like if there's more interest, that they have like a dedicated call, like I don't know what the interval should be, but like just like all the other working groups, but then dedicated for the V2 build packs instead of the Paqueta one.
Yeah, I was thinking about something similar. Yeah,
Would be good.
Okay, is there anything else?
No.
Any updates from the Cloud Founder Day? Is there actually a maintainer day after the Cloud Founder Day? Maybe this is something we need to.
No, I don't have anything planned for like a day after day, but we'll do that when we go back to Frankfurt. Just middle of the week in California. Nothing really came together. But yeah, the schedule is live. Looks like it's going to be a great day. Amelia, I do appreciate you all pushing for travel budgets for speakers in particular. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, then we are done for today. Thank you for joining. Take care and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.